Welcome to another heinous true crime story. Please be advised, this story may contain graphic descriptions of unsettling subjects. Albert Fish, born Hamilton Howard Fish on May 19, 1870, in Washington, D.C., would grow to become one of America's most depraved and horrifying serial killers. His life, marked by severe mental illness and sadistic tendencies, led to a series of gruesome crimes that shocked the nation. Fish's childhood was tumultuous. His father was 75 years old at the time of his birth and died when Fish was just 5 years old. His mother, unable to care for him, placed him in an orphanage where he was subjected to frequent beatings and abuse. It was during this time that Fish began to associate pain with pleasure, a connection that would shape his twisted desires in adulthood. As a young man, Fish moved to New York City, where he began working as a prostitute and engaging in various paraphiliac behaviors. He developed a fascination with sexual mutilation, often inserting needles into his groin and abdomen for sexual gratification. This self-harm would escalate over the years, with X-rays later revealing dozens of needles permanently embedded in his pelvic region. Fish's criminal activities began to escalate in the 1910s. His MO typically involved targeting young children, particularly those from poor families who were less likely to be missed. He would lure them with promises of food, money, or jobs, using his grandfatherly appearance to gain their trust. One of Fish's earliest known victims was a young boy named Thomas Bed Den. In 1910, Fish took Bed Den to a secluded location where he tortured and mutilated him. Remarkably, Bed Den survived the attack, but the incident marked the beginning of Fish's violent spree. In 1919, Fish married a woman named Anna Mary Hoffman, with whom he had 6 children. Despite his apparent attempt at a normal life, Fish continued to indulge in his perverted desires. He would often send obscene letters to women he found in personal advertisements, describing in graphic detail his sexual fantasies and intentions. Fish's most notorious crime occurred in 1928 when he abducted 10-year-old Grace Budd. Fish had originally planned to target Grace's older brother Edward, responding to an advertisement Edward had placed seeking work. Upon visiting the Budd family home, Fish changed his target to young Grace, convincing her parents to let him take her to a birthday party. Instead of a party, Fish took Grace to an abandoned house in Westchester County. There, he strangled her to death, then mutilated and cannibalized her body. Fish would later confess to having cut Grace's body into small pieces and cooking them with vegetables, consuming the gruesome meal over the course of 9 days. In a display of his depraved nature, Fish sent a letter to Grace's mother 6 years after the murder, detailing exactly what he had done to her daughter. This letter, filled with horrific details and sexual perversions, would ultimately lead to Fish's downfall. Police were able to trace the letter's distinctive stationery to Fish's boarding house. When confronted by detectives, Fish initially denied any involvement but eventually confessed to the crime. He led police to the house where he had murdered Grace and provided disturbing details about the act and his subsequent cannibalism. As the investigation deepened, more of Fish's crimes came to light. He confessed to the murder of 4-year-old Billy Gaffney in 1927. Fish's description of this crime was particularly horrifying. He detailed how he had abducted Billy, tortured him for hours, mutilated his body, and then consumed his flesh over several days. Fish also admitted to the murder of 8-year-old Francis McDonnell in 1924. Francis had been playing on his front porch when Fish lured him away. The boy's body was found hanging from a tree, severely beaten and sexually assaulted. Throughout his confessions, Fish displayed a disturbing lack of remorse. He spoke about his crimes with a detached, almost proud demeanor, often going into graphic detail about the sexual gratification he derived from torturing and consuming his young victims. Fish's trial began on March 11, 1935, in White Plains, New York. The defense attempted to prove Fish's insanity, bringing in psychiatrists who testified to his numerous paraphilias and delusions. Fish himself claimed to have heard voices from God commanding him to kill children. Despite the overwhelming evidence of Fish's mental instability, the jury found him sane and guilty after a short deliberation. He was sentenced to death by electric chair. On January 16, 1936, Albert Fish was executed at Sing Sing prison. In his final statement, he claimed it would be the supreme thrill of his life, a chilling reminder of his lifelong association of pain with pleasure. The true extent of Fish's crimes may never be known. He claimed to have had a child in every state, implying dozens of victims across the country. While only 3 murders were conclusively tied to him, investigators believed the actual number could be much higher. Fish's case horrified the public and fascinated psychologists. His extreme paraphilias, including pedophilia, cannibalism, and sadomasochism, combined with his outwardly harmless appearance, made him a subject of intense study. Fish himself claimed to have engaged in coprophagia, urophilia, and countless other perversions throughout his life. The Albert Fish case exposed the vulnerabilities of children in early 20th century America, particularly those from impoverished backgrounds. It highlighted the ease with which a predator could operate, moving between states and targeting victims who were less likely to be missed or have their disappearances thoroughly investigated. Fish's crimes also underscored the limitations of contemporary psychiatric understanding and treatment. Despite displaying clear signs of severe mental illness throughout his life, Fish was able to avoid long-term institutionalization and continue his reign of terror for decades. The legacy of Albert Fish's crimes continues to horrify and fascinate to this day. His case serves as a stark reminder of the depths of human depravity and the devastating impact of untreated mental illness combined with sadistic tendencies. The story of Albert Fish remains one of the most disturbing chapters in the annals of American crime history, a testament to the monstrous potential that can lurk behind even the most unassuming facade. If you made it this far into the video, thank you for watching. Please remember to like the video, comment, and subscribe for more true crime stories. Thanks again for watching. See you in the next video.